Hi, everybody. So today is the first Saturday of February, and that means it's time for the next edition of the Movie Nerds Club. And this month, we decided with the Sundance Film Festival just ending this week that it would be fun to talk about some of our favorite films that have ever come out of the Sundance Film Festival. And I decided, since this is my fifth year doing the festival, I would pick one movie from each of those years that I've attended the festival, and people can take kind of whatever approach they want out of this idea, and you can do classics from the festival because the festival has been going on since like 1984, I think, like a really long time. So you can pick whichever ones that you want that have come through the Sundance Film Festival. But I decided to do the last 5 years that I have been able to attend the Sundance Film Festival. Well, in 2021, I had two favorites that I saw at the festival, but the one that was really the most like buzzy that I'm so excited to tell people about is Misha and the Wolves. And this is a documentary. A lot of times the documentaries end up being my favorites for some reason. I don't know why, but this one is the kind of documentary that you just have your mouth agape. You cannot believe what you're hearing. You cannot believe the twists that it is taking. If it was fiction, you wouldn't believe it. You wouldn't believe that it was true, but it is true. And it was incredible. I'm not going to say anything more because I don't want you to get spoiled at all. This is definitely something better that I would say don't know anything about it when you sit down to watch it. It's going to be on Netflix sometime this year. Make sure you watch Misha and the Wolves. It blew my mind. It's kind of similar in a way to how I felt about Three Identical Strangers from a few years ago, where my mouth was just on the floor. I just could not believe each step and turn that it took. It was so good. And here you have the same thing with Misha and the Wolves. My next pick for 2020 is another documentary. And this is Dick Johnson is Dead. This is by director Kirsten Johnson. And she is the best person I've ever seen at a panel at Sundance Film Festival. And Sundance Film Festival is really great about having really wonderful panels where people can ask questions and you can hear from the stars and other things like that. It's really fun, part of the experience. But she was one of the best I've ever seen. She went up and down the aisles. She took questions. She was so engaging. And the whole movie is just so charming about her father, who she's starting to deal with the fact that he's going to die. He's getting, dementia and other things. And she kind of simulates all these different ways that he could die. And so there's some like fantasy elements to the documentary, but it's just a sweet, lovely little film about family, about growing older, about our relationships with our parents. And I just thought it was so lovely, and I really enjoyed it. I highly recommend it. It's on Netflix. If you haven't seen it, I think you'd really enjoy it. So my 2019 choice is called Blinded by the Lights. It's about a young man, a young high school student in 1987 in England, Luton, England, and he is Pakistani. His parents are very traditional, and especially his dad, and he wants to become a writer, and his dad thinks that that's very silly and not like stable employment. And he continues on it, and he discovers the music of Bruce Springsteen, and it just makes him feel alive, and he really connects with it. And I don't think you have to be a Bruce Springsteen fan to like this movie. You just have to be able to connect with that idea of connecting with something. That if you think about the first time that you really loved something, whether it was me with Les Miserables when I was a teenager, and I was just like obsessed with it. I knew every single line of every single song, or if it's me when I connected with The Little Mermaid when I was in middle school, whatever it might be, that experience is just such a wonderful experience, and it's part of growing up, is just really becoming passionate about something and just wanting to tell everybody about it, and wanting to, it just makes you feel alive. And I think that this movie captures that experience, and I think most of us can really relate to that. And I really just loved all the performances. I loved all of the musical sequences and how they captured him being inspired by the words, and the words literally like coming out of him. And I wasn't a big Springsteen fan. I mean, I didn't dislike him, but I just wasn't like a huge fan. But after watching this movie, I became more of a fan, and I just walked out of the theater just so happy. It made me so happy, and I just loved it. So then for 2018, I thought I would talk about sort of these experiences that you have at Sundance, you watch something and then you never are able to find that movie ever again. And it might not ever be even released. It might only be released overseas, whatever it might be. But this was a good example. There's this movie called Butterflies. And this is a really great example because I've never been able to find this movie since. If anybody knows how to find it, please, I want to watch it again. It was so funny. And it won like jury awards and stuff. So I don't know why it just got lost. And I've never been able to find it on anywhere. And so it's such a bummer. But it's by director Tolga Keliak, I guess. And it's about these three people that find out that they're actually siblings when their father dies. And they have to go and bury him, but there's obviously all of this baggage all around it. And so it's like a really dark comedy, but it's very, very, very funny. And one of the jokes that really got to me is they go to this town where their father lived, and there's all these crazy characters. And somehow the chickens got into the gunpowder. And so throughout the whole movie, the chickens just randomly explode at all times. And I don't even think that would really happen if chickens ate gunpowder. It probably would just do nothing. But I didn't really care. It made me laugh every time. And so I just really liked this movie, and I've never been able to find it. So if anybody can find it, please, please, I want to see it. But it was so funny. And that's one of the gifts that the festival can kind of give you, is you get those like unique experiences that only you and those people in that theater at that moment will ever have with that movie. And except unless you're in Turkey, I guess. But yeah, so that's a great experience. And then my last choice, my first year at the festival was 2017. I had seen one movie the year before, but as far as really attending was 2017. And that my favorite from that year was the documentary Step. This was the first movie that I went to Sundance and really came out just like super pumped that I loved this movie. And I still love it. I think it's so great. It's about these step performers who are able to find a way to get to college. They're living in inner city Baltimore, and the challenges that they have. It's not really about step, it's about these girls. And I just found them so lovely, and I loved the teachers, and I actually got to meet the coach of the step team, and that was really fun. And I just loved it. I was so inspired by it. I was so moved by it, and it just made me happy. So that's my thoughts on the Sundance Film Festival and my favorites of the last 5 years. So let me know if you've been able to attend the festival, what your favorites are from the last 5 years, or even just in general, if you've ever been able to attend, what some of your favorites, and if you've enjoyed ones that made you really excited, ones that were this unique experience, like with Butterflies, or ones that you had a great panel at, all that kind of stuff. That's all part of the experience. So I'd love to hear your experience. So please put in the comments section, and make sure to check out all my friends, Movies Nerds Club. Their videos can be a really fun one, a very eclectic one, I feel like. And so make sure to like this video. Please subscribe to my channel and check out my Patreon. I'd really appreciate that. Also have a merch store, which has tons of fun designs. And we have some Valentine's designs right now, which were designed by my friend Jessica Miller. And I think they're really cute. So make sure to take a look at that. And I also have my daily logs of Sundance from all the years that I've attended over on my blog, including this year. And I have my interviews with all the animators of Sundance at rotoscopers.com. So I'd love for you to check that out as well. And thanks so much to everybody in the Movie Nerds Club and for listening to this video. And I'll talk to y'all later. Bye, everyone.